Okay, for people that are going to be gone, I put this up on Schoology so you can watch the notes. It's only 2 templates. The notes take about 5-10 minutes to watch, so I thought maybe tonight, if you want to work on this, you can work on it. So, we're going to work with 3 variables. So far, we've only worked with 2 variables. What do we do when there's 3 variables? So the first one's a pretty basic one. There's a very long equation. There's a little bit longer, shorter one, and then there's a really short one. So it's kind of obvious on which variable you should solve for. Work with the smallest one first. 2z equals 6. Z must equal 3. So once you know that z equals 3, you can go up into the second shortest one, which is this one. And in place of z, you can put 3, so it's going to look like this. It's going to look like 2y minus, in place of z, I'm going to put a 3 and put equals 7. So the only variable that's left is y, and now I can solve for y. 2y equals 10, so y equals 5. So now that we know z, now that we know y, we can go back up into this longer one and substitute those variables numbers into 3x plus y plus 2z equals 8. So now, I'm going to put this down here. It's going to look like 3x plus, in place of y, I'm going to put 5. And in place of z, I'm going to put 3. But it's 2 times z right here. It's 2 times z, which makes it 6, equals 8. And now I can solve for x. 3x plus 5 plus 6 is 11 equals 8. So 3x equals a negative 3. So x equals a negative 1. You can leave it like this on the test, or you can write it in a triple. You can write it as x first, then y, and then z. You do not have to write it like this. You don't want to. You can leave it like this, and I'll accept it. So that's the first problem. You have a couple of these on the worksheet. They're in the middle. I think you only have 2 of them on your worksheet. They are problems 4 and 5. Those are the basic ones. The harder ones, the 1, 3, and 7, I'm going to show you how to do now. Okay, these are the harder ones, as you can see. As you can see, they all have an x and a y and a z in it. So how do you solve when you have an x, a y, and a z, and you have 3 unknowns and 3 equations? You're going to do the elimination method like we did last week. So you need to decide, which variable you want to eliminate. It doesn't matter, you just have to stick with the same variable. So I'm going to eliminate the x's. It's up to you. You can eliminate the y's, you can eliminate the z's, but you have to stick with the same variable that you want to eliminate. So what you have to do is the elimination method. You need to do it 3 times. Okay, so this is what you have to do, and it's kind of harder to do it on here than to show you in person, but I'm going to work with these 2 first. And if I'm going to eliminate the x's, I'm going to have to multiply the second one by negative 2. So I'm going to write down the first one. You see that that's identical to the first one, but the second one, I'm going to multiply all of it by a negative 2. So if I multiply the first part by negative 2, it's a negative 2x. If I multiply the middle part by negative 2, it turns out to be a positive 4y. And if I multiply the last part by negative 2, it comes out to be a negative 2z. And don't forget to do the right side. Multiply that by negative 2. That makes a negative 16. So all I did was, to that middle one, this one right here, I multiplied every term by a negative 2, and that's how I got that. I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to put a plus sign. And if I did it right, my x's should cancel out, and they do. my x's cancel out. I'm left with 5y here plus 1z, because 3z take away 2z is 1z, equals a negative 7. Okay, now I did those two, correct? So I'm going to erase them. And now, since I did the first two, I have to do one more set. So I have to decide. I could do this one and this one if I wanted to. Or I could do these two if I wanted to. So just to explain it one more time. For the first group, I did the first and the second. I put those together. I can do the first and the second, I can do the first and the third, or I can do the second and the third. What do I mean is writing the two equations down and eliminating them. I already did the first and the second, so I have a choice. I can do the first and the third and get rid of the x's, or I can do the second and the third and get rid of the x's. And I don't know why I'm picking this one, but I'm picking this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle the second and the third. These are the second and the third. I circle those, and I need to still eliminate my x's. So I need to look at my two x's and decide which one I have to multiply so that I eliminate my x's. And I definitely need to do something with this one right here. I need to multiply by 4 so that they eliminate. So the starred one, I'm going to multiply all of it by 4. So I'm going to get 4x minus 8y plus 4z equals 32. So the starred one up there I multiplied by 4. The third equation right here, I'm not going to do anything to it. I'm just going to write it right underneath it. Negative 4x plus 3y plus 2z equals a negative 4. I'm going to draw a line underneath it, and I'm going to add these. And if I did it right, my x's should cancel out, and they do. The x's cancel out. I left with a negative 5y plus 6z equals 28. Okay, now you need to look at these two. Do you notice that we eliminated the x's, and we're down to these two now? We're down to this one, and we're down to this one. And what we have to do again is eliminate another variable. So you have to decide which variable. In the first one, I eliminated the x's, and I turned out with these two red. Now I'm going to decide to eliminate my y's. I'm going to eliminate them next. So if you compare the two red ones, you're going to notice that the two y's are identical. They're opposites of each other. So I don't have to do much to the problem. I just have to put them on top of each other. I just put the two red ones that we did by eliminating the x's on top of each other, and as you can see, the y's cancel out. You have 6z plus 1z gives me 7z's equals 28, take away 7 is 21. So z in this problem equals 3. But we're not done, because we need to find the other letters, or variables. So I found the z equals 3, and it doesn't matter where I go into, but I need to go back up into one that only has one variable. I can go back up into this one. I can go back up into this one. I can go back up into this one, or I can go back up into this one. They're all the same anyway, the ones I circled. I'm just going to go over here and do this one. It doesn't matter, but I'm going to leave it 5y. And in place of z, I'm going to put 3 equals a negative 7. I'm going to subtract 3 to both sides, and I'm going to divide both sides by 5. I'm going to get y equals a negative 2. So now that I know my y, and now that I know my z, I can go way back to the beginning to find my x. So I'm going to go all the way back here, and I'm going to erase all this just to show you I can go back into any one of these three, because I know the y and I know the z, so the only variable I don't know is the x. So I'm just going to go back up into this one and I'm going to go down and copy that down again. 2x plus y. So 2x plus y, what's the rest of it? Plus 3z, plus 3z equals 9. You can go up into any one of those three. In place of y, I'm going to put a negative 2, so that's how I got the negative 2. In place of z, I'm going to put a 3, so that's how I got 9, equals 9. And the only variable I'm still looking for is my x. So I'm going to get 2x plus 7 equals 9. 2x equals 2 because I subtracted 7, and I divide by 1, x equals 1. Again, you can leave it like this, or if you want, you can write it, but you have to go in alphabetical order. You can put it back up into what I found the answer. We found out that x was 1, y was a negative 2, and z was 3. You do not have to put it back up into a triple. You're so used to ordered pairs, this is called a triple. You do not have to put it in there. So, that's all there is to this worksheet. Again, once before I stop here, you have two of these where it's pretty basic and they already give you one of the variables. You just have to go back up and find the other variables. So those are problems 4 and 5 on the worksheet. And then you have 3 of the harder ones, and I put the answers down at the bottom to make sure that you're doing them right. You have 3 of these to do. So you only have 5 problems to do. And I'm going to send this to you on Schoology for people to watch.